Greetings. Welcome to our series of weekly devotionals. This week we're offering a series of devotionals on a passage in the book of Acts. I have mentioned before this story in my very first class that I took for ministry. It was a preaching class, and our instructor said this to us, that if we're in the vestibule of the church after the service and folks come through the line and shake our hands and say, Pastor, that was a wonderful sermon. I really enjoyed your sermon today. We are not to take credit for it. We are simply to say, praise God, because it is not by our own efforts that we inspire people through preaching, but it is the work of God. And of course, I've never really followed that instructor's advice. Usually when people say, you did a great job, I'm very happy to say thank you. And I think that this is probably true in a lot of folks within the church. We like to have credit. We like to be in charge of stuff. We like to receive accolades and affirmation for the good that we do. I remember someone in the church years ago had made a sizable donation, and they said to me, well, you can be happy to announce that I made this donation to the church and announce my name, but make sure you also announce that I don't want any credit for it. Sure, no problem. Well, in our passage in the book of Acts, before Peter addresses the crowd and speaks of the resurrection and that he and the fellow disciples were witnesses to this, and then goes on to talk about the saving work of Jesus Christ, he and John had healed a man who was lame, and folks were amazed at the healing power that Peter and John had displayed in this miraculous healing. But Peter says to the crowd of onlookers, he addressed the people, "You Israelites, why do you wonder at this, or why do you stare at us, as though by our own power or piety we had made him walk? It was the God of Jacob, of Abraham, of Isaac, the God of our ancestors, has glorified his servant Jesus." The credit goes to God. It's all about God. And although we may like to receive praise, the truth is that church, our service, our worship, our prayers are not about us. It's about God. I remember a friend of mine who's also a pastor said something to me years ago. He said that in his ministry, he said, I just try to stay out of God's way. All these years later, I'm still not exactly sure what he meant by that, but it certainly sounds good. And I think it reminds us that in the church, we are to remember that it's not about us. It's about God. Amen.